Oh my gosh, I loved today's interview. You are about to meet Barbara and Louis, aka the Roaming Rebels. These guys are fantastic. They basically wrapped up their whole life at 50, decided they were going to go and travel the world on motorbikes. And when I caught up with them, they were locked down in Cambodia, one of my favorite countries in the world. In today's chat, we are laughing and we are chatting all about how they basically left their life and went traveling, what it's like to travel on motorbikes, the kind of equipment they're using, because they have a really engaging Instagram account and they do weekly vlogs on YouTube, and they just got it going on. They're absolutely awesome, and this is such a fun and vibrant and energetic chat, and I can't wait to actually catch up with them face to face somewhere in the world. So check out today's interview. You are going to love it. It's going to make you laugh.
Wouldn't you love to build a business you can run from anywhere in the world, whether that be your kitchen table or a beach in Fiji? Well, you're in the right place. Welcome to Your Lifestyle Business, the show where I bring you into my life as a traveling entrepreneur, and along with some of my awesome guests, give you tips and strategies for building your own freedom business. Welcome to the show. Let's make it happen.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. How are you doing? It's Jo here from Your Lifestyle Business, and I'm very excited to be joined by Barbara and Louis from Roaming Rebels today. Hi, guys. How are you doing?
I'm very good. We're very good. Hello.
Nice to meet you guys.
So Barbara and Louis are currently locked down in Cambodia. And they started traveling, from what I can gather, a few months ago. We're going to get into that, though, as I speak to you. And they've got a really highly engaging Instagram account where they tell stories of their travels and all that kind of stuff. And so I couldn't wait to get them on for an interview to tell their story of how they got going and where they've been. So here we are, guys. And you're currently in a hotel in whereabouts in Cambodia are you?
We stuck in the capital by the name of Phnom Penh, which is quite a sizable city. So yes, we managed to get ourselves into a hotel room here. We're also doing a bit of a check of the area and exploring of the area, which is a very, very diverse spot to explore. And the hotel is quite central to the plans of doing that.
So I haven't been to Phnom Penh. I went over to Siem Reap a couple of years ago with my sister, and we went to Angkor Wat and sort of traveled around, that part of Cambodia. And for me, I must say, Cambodia was a bit life-changing, because I'm very ashamed to say, before going to Cambodia, I wasn't fully versed on what happened with the Khmer Rouge and, all of the history. And so actually traveling to the area and finding out and discovering everything that happened was a super life-changing experience for me to really understand everything that happened. How are you loving Cambodia? What's your thoughts on it as a country?
Well, we've been to Cambodia, I think about 3 years ago. So we went then to Siem Reap and we did Kampot, and at that time we did the very touristic, how much can you cram into 10 days of holiday, your traditional traveling. So now this time we've been here now for 3 months. We have more time to explore. Out of the 3 months though, we have been stuck for 11 weeks, so just over 2 months. In a very small town called Ban Luang in the Ratanakiri province. It's probably one of the lesser known provinces. It's also the only province that had no COVID-19 infections. And we decided to actually do our own lockdown. So that's why we decided to stay put, not travel around. As soon as you stay a little bit longer in a place, you start traveling or meeting more with the expats than with the locals. So we have been exposed to a few Khmer people. Some we've become very, very good friends, like sisters now to us. And it's only about 2 weeks ago that we started traveling around Cambodia, because there has been no further outbreaks. There is no lockdown. You can actually travel. There's a lot of places that are closed. But now that we can travel around, we make new friends. And must say, Cambodians are very welcome. Even towards us as foreigners. They're very interested in our story. They love our bikes. And yeah, it's a different kind of traveling now, because it's sometimes hard to find hotels and guest houses that are open, and the roads are not always ideal, and the rainy season is about to start. So traveling on a motorbike is a little bit more complicated, but it's I think we will start again next week. We've been now here a week in Phnom Penh. So on Saturday Louis and I, we planned a whole tour around Cambodia, and it will be in small villages, waterfalls, small the big mountains. I mean, so it's going to be quite interesting.
Beautiful. Oh my goodness, that's so great. We've literally heard just in the last couple of days that it looks like Thailand, the inter-provinces are about to open. So whereas in the summer we would normally go back to the UK or somewhere, I think that we can't do that at the moment. But apparently we might be able to do like a road trip and go around Thailand, which is something actually I'm ashamed to say we haven't done yet. So that would be really nice, just to go around some of the smaller villages and places within Thailand as well. Yeah, so we're in very similar situations, aren't we, that we can now start to move around the countries, but we can't yet get in or out of anywhere. So have you learned any Cambodian while you've been there? Can you speak any of the language?
You can say thank you.
I think thank you is about the only word. And then I did it right afterwards.
Yeah, no, that's cool. So tell us what brought this all on. How long have you been traveling now? When did you leave? You were both living in South Africa, from what I can read from your account, and you decided to just completely pack up your corporate lives, get everything that you wanted to, do over and done with, and grab everything and leave and travel. So just tell us about how all that came about, what inspired you, and how you got started.
Okay, well,
that's a big question.
Yeah, huge.
You see, where I'm coming from, or where I came from in South Africa, it was, in my opinion, not a fantastic place to be for me. I'm not a very political person or too worried about voting and all that kind of usual nonsense, but it became a situation where it was very much a reverse racism kind of thing, and being forced down your throat morning, noon and night everywhere you go, just at one point I just had enough. So I said to Barbara, listen, I want to leave. The main motivation for that probably occurred when we came to Vietnam the first time a few years back, and then Cambodia and Thailand a little bit later than after that, where, you can't come to these places and not be changed and not experience it and say, gee, there's more to life than what we used to, 8 to 5. So, and me coming from a motorcycle background, when I landed in the country the first time and I saw the millions of motorbikes, I said to her, this is the place I could live in. So one thing led to another, and when late to 2019, we sort of made a plan and said, okay, let's pack it all up and let's do this. My son was at that point still going through his matric year, or his senior year, and our plans sort of started falling into place. And when he finished his schooling, he was taken in by my younger brother in Johannesburg, take him under his wing, help him to find a job, look after him as the uncle that do the manly things. They do the hunting and they do the motorcycling and they do all those sort of things that a young guy wants. My daughter, on the other hand, wanted to go to her mother in New Zealand. So all of those sort of things fell into place, and we managed to get the kids where they needed to be. And then we hopped on a plane and landed in Vietnam just on the end of November 2019. Our initial plan was to travel Vietnam from the south to the north, sort of work our way through that for a year or 2 or 3, maybe, as long as it took to finish Vietnam. And in doing so, through collaboration with a local company, we managed to get our first 3-month tourist visa. In hindsight, it was supposed to be a business visa, which would mean that you would not have to leave the country to renew it, but they actually gave us a tourist visa, which forced us to leave after the expiry of the first 3 months. At that point, our trip sort of took us to a beach town by the name of Nha Trang, which was fairly close to a land border between Cambodia and Vietnam. And I said to Barbara at that point, let's rather drive to the border, do a border run, get our visas renewed, and then return, But maybe while we are paying a normal visa fee, which grants us 30 days access, let's make use of it and spend the 30 days in Cambodia. That being said, we entered Cambodia. We found a nice little lodge to stay in, which was in a little town called Ban Luang, which is a very small, very undeveloped town. And as luck would have it, while we were there, we obviously being on top of the news and seeing how things were going with the borders and the virus, we then realized that they were closing the borders between Vietnam and Cambodia. So a little bit of a shock, but then we said, fine, no problem. We did some research to try and find out how we renew our visas that are now Cambodia based. We, through a long process, had our passports delivered to a bus company that was parting people up and down between Phnom Penh and Ban Luang. And then the passports. The passports were then collected by a motorcycle rental company, a tour company in Phnom Penh. They handed it in at the embassy, which then got us a new visa. We went back on the bus and we managed to get our passports back, luckily, in Ban Luang. Luckily, after that, the government here decided to automatically grant extensions to the tourists that are here on tourist visas. You don't need to pay for a visa, you don't need to do anything, but you can't leave the country. I understand that in Vietnam it's not the same sort of scenario. There the people are double charged for their visa fees. They have a tremendous amount of complication to go through to get visas renewed. So we're very fortunate that we decided to come to Cambodia and be stuck in a more friendly kind of situation.
Yep.
That being said, yes, then we ended up in this little town in Ban Luang, as Barbara mentioned before, at a very nice little lodge that's owned by a local Khmer lady. And she actually happened to be one of these children at that stage that was involved in the Khmer Rouge. Her father was the general that was running the opposing military force. Her mother was the wife that was putting the little kiddies in a basket on a bicycle and traveling for hundreds of kilometers to outrun the Khmer Rouge guys that were coming to find the family to execute them. So we were lucky to be in her presence to actually get the story from somebody that was physically there, close to the general that was physically the person in charge of the forces to get Pol Pot and his guys out of the country. So very enlightening. I think we will still at some point do a video just based on that.
Yeah. I think this is this is what I talk about all the time to my community, that to travel is to broaden the mind, is to learn and to understand what is happening and has happened, all around the world, which promotes tolerance and understanding and cultural diversity. And, because you start to understand what's gone on, I think it's to travel around and meet people who've been through some of the things that people have. I mean, even Vietnam is to go to the museum and learn all about the war and everything. I mean, it's incredible what some of these people have been through. So I love it. I love the fact that you're out there doing it. So Barbara, when Louis said, right, come on, let's go, let's leave, let's jump on our motorbike. And I need to ask about the motorbikes in a second. Did you have any fears? Was there anything that you thought, oh God, I'm not sure? Or were you like just totally, yeah, let's do it, I'm up for it?
Well, I've lived, I think, so far in 5 different countries. So when I told him, it's like, yeah, I can leave as well. He actually didn't believe me. He said, but are you sure? I said, well, I've lived in different countries. I lived in 2 different continents now. I can go to a 3rd continent. I love challenges. There's not many things that scare me. The only thing that I wanted to sell my company before we go. And so we are both divorced, single parents. We each have 2 kids. So I just wanted to also make sure that my children, who had been under my guard for 8 years, could now, at the age of 16 and 18, go and live with their dad. So their father had accepted. So my kids have lived last year in Japan. Now they're living in Kinshasa, the DRC. So they're doing their little bit of a world experience as well. So as soon as that was sorted out, and we also had never the plan to go back. So we said, well, if we do that, let's just cut everything and get rid of everything. And so that was the furniture and our cars, and we had a Harley Davidson. I sold my company. we sold basically everything that we had owned in the last 30 years, which is high heel shoes and jewelry and the fancy life. So we got rid of all of that. So, I mean, I used to live for 5 years in Monaco. So you can imagine the wardrobe was fitted for that lifestyle. So basically we got rid of everything. And then we did a lot of research of how much can you pack in a backpack. We are not backpackers, but still, because we travel on a motorbike, there's only so much luggage you can carry. So it was endless research of the lightest shoes that dry the quickest, the pants that are UV protected, that you can wash without needing to dry, because it's from having domestic full time to now doing your laundry in the basin of a hotel. But I don't know. A lot of people asked us, but what will you do? And what if we want to come back? And so much questions based on fear. Both myself, we actually never woke up and saying, what did we do? What did we decide? Because once you start that ball rolling, there's no going back. You don't want to buy furniture again. You can't buy your company back. Or you can't, your kids are gone now, so you made a plan for that. So that's all in motion. We never actually woke up and saying, what have we decided? And so a lot of people asking me, and I think also in our generation, I mean, I turned 50. Louis is a 49. Very proud to say that he is younger than me. But I don't know, in that age group, with all respect and huge love for our friends in that age group, there's a lot of fear. So there was a lot of questions. Oh my gosh, this is so brave. I don't think we're brave. We just made a decision. We went for it. And we put aside enough to have this lifestyle. But one of the reasons we decided also to go to Vietnam is because it's probably one of the cheapest countries in the world. So we have very strict budgets. We negotiate with hotels very often. We make deals with them. We feature them, etc. So we work on that, and obviously also through Instagram. Eventually, that will become an account that will pay for itself. But that's not even relevant. It's about content, as you know. But so we'll just wing it, and basically that's what we've always done. Even in the beginning when we traveled, I would organize everything. I'm a spreadsheet queen, so everything is in spreadsheets. Then we do this, and then Louis says, no, let's just be more adventurous. Let's just go somewhere for one night and then take it from there. And I think the fact that we travel on a motorbike makes it also way more flexible. You don't have to leave at 7 o'clock because that bus only leaves on a Monday at that time. We can pack up, and people sometimes ask us, where do you want to go home? I said, but this is home. It's my home. this is it, And for this future, we have one pair of flip-flops and one pair of closed shoes, and that's it. We have 2 pair of shorts, so that outfit you'll probably see 1 million times on our Instagram feed, because it's not. We don't want any belongings anymore. I mean, fancy watches, all this. It doesn't define you. It doesn't bring you happiness. The experience that we have, the people we meet, it's just, to the soul, it is just so much more rewarding, and it's the opportunity. It's just, there is no plan. Our plan is unplanned. So if we want to stay 2 years in Vietnam, or maybe only 3 months, or we want to stay, we go somewhere else, we'll wing it. There's always, and I say to a lot of people, even if you make that decision, your brain, your entrepreneurship comes with you. So if you really need to make money again, you will find a way. There's always opportunities. You just have to keep your mind open, talk to people. There's always ways of, in a new place, start all over again. I started all over in different countries and started a whole new company in a new country with new laws. It's just, you can do research. And nowadays, with the internet, you can do so much research. If you ask us tomorrow, we'll have to start producing pepper. We'll do a pepper farm. We'll do it, or toilet paper, because toilet paper not too very popular right now. But, but the point is, I always say the only obstacle anybody has is here.
Up here, yeah. What did you do? What was your business before you started traveling, Barbara?
Okay, so I have run quite a few different companies. I had an advertising agency, then I had an events company, I published a magazine, I did some artwork and sculpting, but the last 10 years I started a jewelry company based in South Africa, and it was to help underprivileged women in the communities, so they would hand make all the jewelry, and all our suppliers were local, so it had a very social aspect to it. So we did a lot of, we exported to about 24 countries, and we did some corporate gifting as well. So yeah, it was my baby too.
And you didn't want to keep that going, because obviously, you're selling the jewelry online. So there was no way, you just wanted to cut ties completely?
It's very hard. We did think about it with Louis, but then Louis said, if you are there and there are crisis situations, and then you will have to go back all the time. So we do it fully, or we stay, or I stay, and he would have gone without me, I think. But yeah, but I'm quite hands-on. Delegation is not always my strong point. Yeah. But also because there was a lot of women involved, you have to be active. You have to go to trade shows because it was mainly wholesale. So you have to maintain relationships with the shops in the different countries, and in South Africa, obviously as well. They want to see your face. At the end of the day, anything in life is about relationships. Yep. It's not about the jewelry. It's about the relationship they have either with the owner, the designer, or the sales rep, or whatever. It's about relationship. If you take that person out, that's the main relationship factor. Your company is not there anymore. So I was very grateful. I had an amazing female entrepreneur who's also very, very keen on promoting women in South Africa. She took over the company, and she's continuing with that relationship and with the legacy of the brand.
Yeah. And what did you do in your former life, Louis?
I come from a motor industry background.
Okay.
I used to be involved in the workshop side of numerous dealerships in South Africa. Following that, I worked for a company that was more on the financial side of things, also working with the motor industry, where they were selling maintenance plans and warranties and that sort of thing to the consumers. I was involved in the administration of the claims that are being paid on those policies. I did that for about 10 years. Then I moved to Cape Town, and I decided to start my own company. I became a loss adjuster. What that basically entails is being a middleman between the insurance companies and the workshops, where if there is a claim on those policies, I will be appointed to go out and do a technical inspection. Submit a report, and then insurance companies will pay or not pay the claim. I did that for about 2.5 years. That was we came to Vietnam.
Yeah. So let's talk about motorbikes. Because you guys are traveling around on motorbikes, right? So gosh, a few things you said then, Barbara, are so true. I mean, how liberating is it, first of all, to just get rid of everything you own? I mean, I remember when we left 10 years ago, we literally just sold everything we owned, including my daughter was riding around. She was 4 years old at the time when we left, and she was riding around on a little bike in the back garden. And I literally had to go and pluck her off the bike, take the bike, and give it to the guy that had just bought. Damaged her for life. No, she's fine. But yeah, I mean, it was so liberating to walk away with literally 3 suitcases, and that was the lot. And over the years, we have actually, even though we've got, a bit in the house that we're living in right now, for us to just pick up and go with a few bags, oh, beautiful. I love it, the liberation. So you guys are on motorbikes, which I can imagine means that you've really restricted as to what you can take. But how great is that all of a sudden you wake up in the morning and you've only got one t-shirt and one pair of shorts, and you're not spending hours thinking about, what shall I wear and what should I... And of course, in the countries that we're in as well, Cambodia, Vietnam, Thailand, they're all tropical. So you only literally need shorts, t-shirts and a pair of flip-flops, and life's a good one. But So tell us about the motorbikes then. So what happened when you left South Africa and came over to Vietnam? What do you do? Do you hire them? Have you bought motorbikes to travel around the whole of South Africa?
Now that's definitely your question.
Well,
hours of research, hours. Okay.
you see, yes, when you visit these countries, you rent scooters. A lot of people are afraid to do that, but obviously, me coming from a biking background, you rent a little automatic scooter and you zoom around town and you sort of freak at the traffic and you read online all these.
Vietnam, yeah. Oh my God, yeah.
You're very fearful, basically, in the beginning. But obviously, I've been a biker for a long time. So before we came, I decided, buying would be a better option than actually renting. So a bit of research was done to try and figure which sort of bike would be the best to have. Do you want the automatic scooter? Do you want the manual off-road scrambler kind of thing? Or what is it that you really want? So we settled on automatic scooters that had 25-liter space under the seat. And we found a company in Saigon that actually could fit a little UV box system on the back. So you've got a clip-on and clip-off little box that you can put on the bikes. You don't have to elastify the whole thing at the back and duct tape to keep it on the bike. You just clip it in and you go.
Nice.
So that basically gives us the freedom then to put all the clothes and things in the plastic box. If you go to a place to stay, you just unclip it and it's upstairs. And whatever you need during the day, you go to extra little things go under your seat. If you want to show the box, you can.
I was going to say you should. That's an Instagram post right there. How have you done that yet? Where you show how you pack up one of the boxes and put it on the back of the bike.
This is the box.
That's great. Look at that.
Yeah.
Oh, that is so good.
7 meters and it just clips on the bike here.
That's quite big as well, isn't it? It's got a lot of space.
Yeah. Hold on.
That is definitely. There's an Instagram post there, guys. That's a whole show how you pack up a box, clip it to the thing. That's a great story. People would love to. So that segues very nicely, actually, into your Instagram and YouTube, because I do want to talk about this, because a lot of people watching this will be people who are looking to try and build a business and to be able to go and travel while they're building that business. So something that you guys are doing, I don't know if you're doing it purposefully or unwittingly, we'll get to that, but you're building this fantastic following on both YouTube and on Instagram, which of course, as you grow, you're going to be able to monetize that, because you're going to have this great, audience of people that love your stories. And one of the things that really caught my attention, and I don't know who does the story writing. I'm guessing it's Barbara from quite a lot of the posts I've read. It has that kind of female edge to it. But your stories on Instagram are just great, and you've engaged your audience. I mean, the comments that you get on each of your posts. And we were just talking before we went live about there are so many travel accounts on Instagram, and without being mean to anybody, because I am not mean in any way, shape or form, but a lot of them are just really sort of vacuous. They're people who are just, their whole focus is on creating this most beautiful image, which is great. And I love that. And that is so awesome. But it's just a beautiful picture, generally with a beautiful person, male or female, in front of it. And that's it. And a little sort of line that just says, this was us diving off a cliff in wherever. But your pictures, you have a whole story. You talk about where you are, where you've been, the people that you've met. You talk about the different stories that you've learned along the way. And because of that, quite rightly so, you've gathered this great following of people that don't just look at your photos, they engage with you, they talk to you. So tell us just a bit about that, Barbara, how that came about and how you kind of discovered your voice, if you like, as you were traveling, and how that translates into what you've created on Instagram.
Well, I started our Instagram account, roaming.rebels, I think it's about a year ago, as we knew that we would make the big move. So we started already, because I thought, South Africa is a very beautiful destination, Cape Town with the beach and the mountain and the vineyards. It's such an amazing place. So we just started slowly to start with the account. And in my spare time, while running a company and planning everything ahead, for the move, I did a lot of research as well on Instagram and how to grow your account, how to monetize. But I think how to monetize became so less relevant after a while, and it will come, it will happen. So I just thought, let's make it about content and about our personalities. In the beginning, not always easy, because in the beginning also, if you look at my very first posts, I would have very little words, and it would just be, I thought, like a very nice picture, a little bit of words, and then I read somewhere it's always good to ask a question at the end, so you engage and you actually speak to the people. It's not only about me, or look at me in front of this and look at me in front of this, which, like you said, with respect, there is a market for that, but that's not what we're about. It's not about us all the time. Look at this in front of the Eiffel Tower. It's me. No, it's the Eiffel Tower, or it's the history behind it, or the people you met around. So in the beginning, when I would post a little question, I would have like no replies. But I said, if that's, and I understand the logic behind asking a question. I said, I'll just have to be consistent and continue. And even though I looked and I had like 3 replies, it's beautiful picture. I said, but I asked a question, nobody answered. But eventually, as you do it, I think in anything you do in life, your vibe attracts your tribe. So we attracted,
I like it.
Copyrighted, but we've attracted some amazing travel accounts, yours included, and every person that starts following us, and I feel I decide whether I follow them back. It's basically on the content, not only on the followers, not on the, but if there is some content that resonates, if it's a very popular account, but I see just pictures about high heels, it's not my life anymore. I'm not interested in high heels or makeup advice. Gosh, I mean, this is it. I've got sun lotion, and that's basically what makeup has become. So looking at the content of ours, and then everybody that I follow back, or that's, reciprocity, I send a welcoming message explaining who we are, asking who they are as well. And I think whether it's social media or nowhere else, it's just a matter of being polite and saying thank you, because there are so many accounts that you could follow. The fact that you follow us, I'm grateful for each and every one of them. So I think it's a normal thing to do. It's maybe our generation as well to say, well, thank you to our account. Thank you for following. Well, I'll say it's flippant awesome, because that's the style. But thank you for following us. And this is a little bit about us, but I want to hear about you as well. So now, yes, when I post now, we get so many comments, and I think about 80% has actually read. And I'm always so grateful, because sometimes I can ramble around and it just goes and on, because it's always full of things I need to say and express. But people actually read it, and then this person, I know that she will be cheeky, and this one will touch her to the core. You start knowing those people, and it's like a course you've created. You've never met them, but some of them, we chat, offline, and we start chatting, by messenger, but it's just, and I think whatever you put in, it always comes out, so if you are genuine with your content, and yes, for me it's important to have beautiful pictures. I'm an aesthetic, I like, even with the hotels, I like beautiful places, but a beautiful picture, but I think the content, the caption is much more important. And I think Instagram has grown beautifully into that direction. Just to give you an example, so before I was more of a Facebook person through my jewelry brand, but you post a caption on Facebook, nobody reads it. It has all shifted to content on Facebook. So even people that know us very well, I mention maybe something quite relevant, but maybe sometimes a little bit sad or a bit more philosophical. It says, oh, great picture, I envy you. It's like, but did you read the caption?
Yeah.
It's not only about the picture. The picture is there to attract the first 5%.
The eyeballs, but you want them to read the story. Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously, engagement. Normally, social influencers is between 1% and 3%. We're sitting at an 8.2% engagement rate, but we're not considering ourselves influencers. We're creators. We do our own voice. It's always based on stories. The thing is, what made it easier for us is, in the beginning, I tried to speak for both of us, but then you lose kind of the personal first person voice. I always try to make it. So then I think about just before we started our travel, I just said to Louis, I said, are you okay if I just start talking my experience? And I know it's roaming rebels with an S. I mean, and he's still very much, you always say he's the rebel and the roaming. But if I can speak with my voice, it will be, more genuine, more authentic, more personal.
Yeah. And I love what you said about in the beginning, you kept asking those questions, even though you had nobody, because I've been terrible on Instagram. I've found it. I'm a Facebook girl. I have been for 10 years. And I find Instagram intimidating. I'll be honest. And over the last few months, I've been desperate. I think every week I sit down and think, well, what should I put on there this week? And what's going to resonate? And what might be? And I suddenly thought to myself a couple of weeks ago, and definitely seeing your account as well really inspired me. I thought, do you know what, Joe? Get onto Instagram and just tell your story. Just tell the story. Absolutely. And the people that like your vibe will be attracted to you, and the people that don't won't. And it's as simple as that. So thank you for that inspiration. If anybody's looking for inspiration on a really rock solid Instagram account, which I have no doubt is going to just explode over the next couple of years, then go and check out Roaming Rebels, because it is it's just a great inspirational account for how to do an Instagram account, I think, personally. But you also do YouTube, and I've had a look at a couple of your. How long does it take you to edit those videos? They're great travel videos. How long does it take?
Yeah. I've got a very tough boss to work for. With her whole design background, she knows how she wants things and which video must go where and which. Whoa, gee. Sometimes I wonder why I decided to do that, But
so you do the editing, do you, Louis?
Amigos?
You do the editing, do you?
Yes, I do the physical ground level work. She does the choreography and the structure and so on.
Filming.
Well, and some of the filming, yes. And then it's just a case of sitting and putting it all together, and it's sometimes 20 videos, sometimes 60 videos, and that you select pieces out of to build a story. And I think every one of our videos that we finish, I'm quite surprised at, because it becomes a story which I never thought would be hidden in all those videos.
Yeah.
And I think we sort of do it well. We still have some areas to improve. We still have to learn some fancy tricks and animations and those sort of things, but
keep it simple. Yeah. The places you go and the stories you tell are all you need. You don't need too many fancy tricks, I don't think. They're not these days anyway. Maybe years ago when video was all new, but I think nowadays it's the story you tell and the places that you've been. But my question with the videos was, what equipment do you use? I know that people will say, oh, what do you use to film? Are you just using your phones to actually film the things, or have you got cameras?
So we've got a few. So I have my phone that I use. It's a Samsung Note 10 that I use because that's on hand all the time. Then I have a very, very nifty stabilizer. You wanna get it in the safe?
Like a gimbal. Yeah.
No, it's pure magic, and it's very, very small. So I've got my little. We gotta show you everything now.
That's good. People will want to know the equipment. Okay.
All the time, and I've got my around my waist all the time. So I've got our passports in there, our cash is in there. Not all of it. So if you decide to follow us and take this, not all the cash is in there. Not all of something is for that pouch. And we have wet wipes in there. What else is in there? Cards. We have anti-mosquito, very, very important. To clean your hands with alcohol. We have
all the masks.
The face mask is in there. We actually also made, and that's just helped us quite a bit. We made some little stickers here. That
watch us on Roaming Rebels YouTube channel. Very good. Where do you stick those?
We've got all our handles on there. And we've noticed that in Asia, people love the stickers. So even in the hotels, and they would stick it on the reception area or a coffee shop. Like it's sometimes a remote. So we're gonna feature you. So they're very proud. Put it on the wall. So that's quite cool. So this is it's a DJI Osmo Pocket, and it's as small as this.
Closer.
And that's your little gimbal stabilizer. Wow, that's really small.
And that's actually quite cool.
So how does that attaches to the phone, does it?
No. It just records directly. So see, it just moves, and then you've got a very. Yeah, I know, but I'm trying.
No way, that is awesome. I want one of those.
Yeah, it's amazing. You can connect it to your phone to have a bigger screen, but I just use it. So sometimes we only use one bike. Then I just sit behind Louis and I put it in the front and we just take screen view. And then Louis has 2 cameras as well.
Yeah, not really so.
Yeah.
A little action camera I brought from South Africa, which is a little Garmin camera. There we go. It looks like that. Big little lens. It can go on your helmet, or it can go on your bike. Also has a little underwater housing that you can do some scuba diving with, and you can do underwater filming with that. I've used it a bit for that as well. And so not too serious. We didn't think carrying massive lenses and big fancy cameras along would be along the lines of traveling small and simple. And then in the very end, we actually decided to buy a drone as well, or something like call them fly cams here in Asia. And wherever the opportunity is and the scenery is good, we actually we use that to do some aerial shots, which adds a bit of depth and it adds a bit of a perspective sometimes to your video. So I don't have big backpacks with cameras and tripods and all kinds of things. Call it simple and easy.
Yeah. But what is very, very important on YouTube is the quality of your sound. So this is a little receiver that hooks into the bottom of your cell phone, and then we've got a dual interview little clip on, this. Clip it on here, and then I've got a second one. So if you do a interview, the other person can clip it on, and then whenever you record, you get really, for the size, quite good quality of sound. And that's, I think, it's the 7 months.
Can I ask you a favor and just ask you after our interview to give me a little list of that equipment, because that would be very cool to include with this video, just to show people what you've got. Some of that stuff is great for travel. It's all great for traveling. It's brilliant for people who want to go traveling and be able to do videos and stuff on the go. So that's awesome. So what's next for you guys then? So once this lockdown ends and you can kind of get out and go around, what's your plans? What's next on the line for Roaming Rebels?
You did not listen. We said there's no plan, unplanned. So there's no plan.
You are so right. You said, what the hell, didn't you? You said, we'll just take it as it comes. You've thrown the spreadsheets into the trash and you've said, whatever happens, happens. Brilliant.
Yeah. Now, basically, joke apart, just wanted to tease you. On Saturday, we will do that I think it's 1,700 kilometer strip. That we'll do. We have no idea how long it will take us because, like we said earlier, the raining season is coming upon us, so not always sure. And then we will see what happens. The good thing is by buying a Vietnamese bike, and that's all the hours of research of Louis as well, we are allowed to drive in Laos and in Cambodia. Okay. So if Laos opens its borders first and we want to visit Laos, then we might go to Laos. If Vietnam opens the border first, then we go to Vietnam. My plan is still to go to Belgium this year, but I think it might only be next year to see my mother and my kids.
Okay.
So yeah, there's a lot of, I think what has helped us is to think as little as possible of the next plan, because it's very uncertain what is happening. So we'll just have to play it by ear. Also, once the borders do open, we need to see what Cambodia will decide. Like Louis explained earlier, for the moment, the penalty of overstay has been waived. But as soon as the borders is open, what will the government decide then? Some countries are allowing you for 3 months in, will only allow you for 1 month. For us, 1 month, first of all, will be a lot of admin hassle, as well as a financial burden as well. And then we need to see, and we look at the news. We are in a lot of Facebook groups of all the different countries, even Thailand, we would like to visit, but we might have to buy a bike there or rent another bike there because our Vietnamese number plates will not be allowed there. So we'll just have to play it by ear, because some countries say, okay, you can come in, but then a quarantine. We don't want to do quarantine because we don't need to be in that country necessarily. There's no house waiting for us. There's no, there's nothing waiting for us. So
no.
Yeah.
But you said you definitely don't want to go back. So what are some of over the next few years? What are some of the countries that you really want to go and visit over the next few years?
We've been invited to Scandinavia, Iceland, America, Philippines. Well, lift up anyone. And then you meet people, and then 10 minutes later in the conversation, they say, you should come visit my country and come stay in my house, and I'll show you around. So there's a list of places that want to see us. Whether we'll make it there is a different story. But the opportunities are definitely there. People are very welcoming wherever you meet them. They're just warm and welcoming, and they're proud of their countries. They want to show you.
Yeah. So this is it for you guys. It's just, go fly by the seat of your pants and just see where the world takes you over the next few years, and just explore the world and different people and cultures and countries, and just enjoy life, right?
And then things happen. We received while we stayed at one place, the owner says, would you like to change our hotel or our guest house into a wellness resort? Do you want to be involved? So we had a business proposal there, and then we looked at some figures, etc. Then obviously the pandemic started, but we, like we said, we have no plans. So yes, we can travel for a long time, but if after, we've been now traveling for 6 months, we stayed in 33 different hotels. It's great. Sometimes it's a little bit tiring, mainly when you do on a motorbike and you stay 1 or 2 nights. So we try to stay a little bit longer, just that we can recuperate. We are not that young anymore. Sorry, I'm talking for myself.
I love it.
I'm younger.
He's my boy.
I love it. I've got a boy too, Barbara. So I know I know what's going on.
So basically, we don't know if after 3 years you say, this life, it's too much for us now, or whatever. We open to whatever life will be. Don't open to the time, and so far everything comes along your way that was supposed to be. So it's good.
So, look, guys, it's been amazing talking to you today. Before we go, what advice would you have for anybody else out there who is maybe considering this, maybe thinking about it, but they're, oh, God, it's really scary, and I don't know if I can, tear myself away from all my possessions or leave my family, even if they've got maybe grown-up kids, but they're thinking, do I leave the rest of my family? What, all these different barriers and things in their way, but they've got this little smidgen of thing to go out and explore the world and see. What kind of advice have you got for those people?
Well, I would just say, just go for it, do it. Also, not one decision you make is irrevocable. So even if you want to do this, and after 3 years you say, I am too homesick, I miss my food and I miss my family, and that, you can always go back. Nothing stops you, well, except now the pandemic, but in normal situation, nothing stops you to go out there and do all of that. And if you have to start all over and go back home, it's possible. It's always possible. It's not that you close any doors. And that's I think, whatever you do in life, it's not the end of it. This is not, like I said as well, we decided now to travel, but if after a year or a month or 10 years, we decide to do something else again, well, we'll do something else again. Might not be the roaming rebels, but, we'll be reveling something.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, what advice would you have for people that are just thinking about as well starting Instagram accounts, YouTube accounts, and again, all that fear kicks in? I think there's a lot of fear in the world, I think, especially with people publishing things about themselves, their lives, the fear of becoming a bit of a public figure, that kind of stuff, or is anybody going to listen? Is it an empty audience? What's going on? What kind of advice would you have for people who also are just starting their kind of Instagram, YouTube journeys?
Well, I think the most important is to be authentic and not worry about likes and followers. Just be authentic and just be consistent, whatever you do. But that's for everything in life. You need discipline. So look out when you post. And of course, I mean, there's a lot of tricks and there's plenty of YouTube and information out there how to do that. You don't need to pay any people to run it for you. Just find your own voice. And if you like that icon and you want to take a picture, take a picture. Don't worry about if everybody will like it. You will find your audience, and it's just to be as authentic and consistent as possible.
Yep. That's great. Thank you so much. So do you know what? I've totally forgot to talk about the grouting of the swimming pool. I wanted to talk about the grouting of the swimming pool. So we're just going to have a quick chat about that before we go. So what's the story behind, how did you guys end up, I've seen the pictures on Instagram. How did you guys end up in a swimming pool, re-grouting an entire swimming pool? What's the story behind that?
The lodge we lived in Balloon, one of the key attractions of this lodge was an almost Olympic-sized infinity swimming pool. And as the temperature would have it, the swimming pool was in the area of about 30 to probably 40 degrees Celsius night and day. So it was a very hot, massive swimming pool. And what happened was with the virus lockdown, all the suppliers in Phnom Penh, they could supply chlorine and acid and things to all the guys in the outlying areas, ran out of stock. So the pools went green. So what these guys did was they emptied the pool. So a few weeks passed, and what happened was at that point is that the owner returned to have a look at the things at a lodge, and she decided that it was time to do the grouting that was never done. What they do in Asia is they just stick tiles on all the surfaces. They never do grouting in between the tiles. So at that point, we were discussing running the lodge and changing the lodge and so on. So I said to her, look, it's a good show of faith, and obviously because we're also staying there at a fairly accommodating rate, let's pitch in and help them do this job. But things in Asia are not done the way things we do in the West. So we ended up in the corner of this pool with a bucket full of grout, and all of Barbara, myself, two young guys, and even the owner herself was in the pool with a little plastic spatula kind of thing and a plate, kitchen plate full of grout. And we were grouting away all the little tiles. And then you find that the 20 packs of grout they bought ran out. And then you sort of done a quarter of the corner of the pool. So the little guy would get on a scooter, run back to town, try and find the shop where they bought the grout, buy some more packs of grout, and then he'd return. And it'd be different color, or there would be something wrong, but we end up carrying on with the same grout and doing the rest of that. And at the end, I think what happened was that we did that for a few days.
Yeah, I think it was about 3 days because it was then, I think it was April, and it's the hottest month in Southeast Asia, or definitely Cambodia. So we were looking at like 40 degrees. And it's funny because if you do the weather forecast on your phone, it says 39 feels like 48.
Yeah.
So, and it really felt like 48. So we would be grouting from 8 till 11, and then it would be too hot, and then start again around 4 o'clock, and then probably until 7 o'clock. But then the mosquitoes would come and help you grout.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was. It was like sometimes like, what were we thinking to offer our services? But yeah, I mean, we have become friends, and like you said, we made such a good deal with them as well. And they cooked for us. We were the only guests there for quite a few weeks. And they treated us like family, and a lot of other lodges already closed their doors, kicked out the foreigners, which I understand more out of an economical point of view. But they kept us on, and we just, just say, well, let's help out, And now so we can put this on a bucket list.
Yeah, it's another naughty badge, and done it, ticked the list.
Now the problem is, whenever we go swimming in any pool, we look at the grouting on top of it.
I love that. But the moral of the story there is, when you go, just be prepared for anything, just be prepared to try your hand at anything. That's great. I love that story when I read that. Oh, that's great, guys. Look, thank you so much for talking to me today. It's been absolutely awesome to meet you and connect with you. One of the reasons I do these lives, actually, I originally started this wanting to do podcasts, but that's only ever audio. What I love about getting people on video is that you actually see each other and you can connect, and it creates and forges relationships that you never know what's going to happen in the future. So who knows when our paths will cross? I'm sure they will. Around
come and see you.
Come to your place.
Come to ours. Come for a nice barbecue here in Phuket, Thailand. You're always welcome. There you go. There's another invitation. You are welcome to ours here. Yeah, absolutely. It'd be great to meet you guys. So thanks very much. We've been online for a long time, and it's been awesome. It's been absolutely golden. So thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Joe, for having us. It was so nice to chat with you and to meet you.
Thanks so much for listening to today's episode. To join in the conversation, please head over to yourlifestylebusiness.com, where you can find links to podcasts, show notes, and sign up to download my free ebook, How to Build a Business You Can Run from Anywhere in the World. Also, make sure you come and join our Facebook community. Just search for Your Lifestyle Business on Facebook, and you'll soon be sharing ideas with like-minded entrepreneurs all on the same journey. Lastly, if you have a moment, please subscribe and quickly rate this podcast on iTunes. It takes 1/10 of a second to hit the little stars, and your rating will ensure it gets out to more people and impacts as many as possible with the message, make it happen. Thank you so much. See you next time.